Wednesday. Mom was really happy I was willing to go to the pool with her and Manny today, and she said she was proud I was finally putting my family in front of video games. I didn't mention Heather Hills to Mom because I don't need her getting in the middle of my love life. When we got there, I wanted to go straight to the pool area and see if Heather was on duty, but then I realized I'd better be prepared in case she was. So I made a pit stop in the bathroom and lathered myself in suntan oil. Then I did a bunch of push-ups and sit-ups to really make my muscles pop. I was probably in there for about 15 minutes. I was checking myself out in the mirror when I heard someone in a stall clear his throat. Well, that was pretty embarrassing because it meant whoever was in there could see me flexing in front of the mirror the whole time. And if that person was anything like me, he couldn't go to the bathroom until he had complete privacy. I figured the person in the stall couldn't see my face, so at least he didn't know who I was. I was just about to slip out of the bathroom when I heard Mom at the front of the locker room. Gregory Heffley? Are you still in there? Mom wanted to know what took me so long and why I looked so shiny, but I was already looking past her and scanning the lifeguard stands to see if Heather Hills was on deck. And sure enough, she was. I went right over to her and parked myself underneath her chair. Every once in a while I'd say something witty, and I think I was definitely impressing her. Does Mrs. Arakia really think it's a good idea to wear a bikini when she's 8 months pregnant? I'd get Heather a new cup of water whenever it looked like she needed a refill, and every time some kid would do something wrong, I'd speak up so Heather didn't have to. Walk. Whenever Heather's shift ended, I'd follow her to the next station. Every fourth time, I'd end up in front of where Mom was sitting, and let me tell you, it's not easy to be smooth when your mother is sitting 5 feet away. Do you want me to get you something from the snack bar, honey bunches? I just hope Heather knows that I would do anything for her. If she wants someone to put suntan lotion on her back and towel her off after she takes a dip in the pool, I'm the man for the job. I basically hung out with Heather until it was time to go. On my way home, I was thinking that if the rest of my vacation goes like today, this will be the best summer ever, just like Mom predicted. In fact, the only thing that could ruin things now is that stupid muddy hand. I'm sure it'll show up at the exact wrong moment and spoil everything. Greg Heffley, do you take Heather Hills to be your lawfully wedded wife? Wednesday. I've been hanging out with Heather every single day for the past week. I realize my friends at school will never believe it when I tell them about me and Heather, so I asked Mom to take a picture of me standing next to the lifeguard chair. Mom didn't have her camera, so she had to use her cell phone, but she couldn't figure out how to take a picture with it, and I ended up standing there for a long time looking like a fool. Press the little green button. I finally got Mom to press the right button to take a picture, but when she did, the camera was pointed the wrong way, and she took a picture of herself. See, this is why I always say that technology is wasted on grown-ups. I got Mom to point the camera at me, but right at that moment, her phone rang and she answered it. Hello, Barbara? Is that really you? Mom talked for about 5 minutes, and by the time she was done, Heather was on her next shift, but that didn't stop Mom from taking the picture anyway. Friday, relying on Mom for my ride to the pool is starting to become a problem. Mom doesn't want to go to the pool every day, and when she does go, she only stays a few hours. I like to be at the pool from the time it opens until the time it closes so I can maximize my time with Heather. I wasn't about to ask Roderick to drive me to the pool in his van because he always makes me sit in the back and there are no seats. I realized I need my own transportation, and luckily I found a solution yesterday. One of our neighbors left a bike out by the curb and I took it before anyone else could. I rode the bike home and parked it in the garage. When Dad saw it, he said it was a girl bike and I should get rid of it. But I'll tell you at least 2 reasons a girl bike is better than a boy bike. Number 1, girl bikes have big, cushy seats, and and that's really important when you're riding in your bathing suit. And then number 2, girl bikes have those baskets on the handlebars, which are good for carrying your video games and suntan lotion. Plus, my bike came with a bell, and that really comes in handy. Move along, people. Monday. I guess I should have known that a bike that was left out with the trash wasn't going to last very long. I was riding home from the pool yesterday and the bike started getting all wobbly. Then the front wheel popped right off. So today I had to ask Mom for a ride to the pool. When we got there, Mom said I had to take Manny with me through the locker room. She said he's getting too old to go through the women's locker room with her, so I guess they must have the same shower situation in there as they do in the men's locker room. It should have taken about 5 seconds to get Manny from one end of the locker room to the other, but it took about 10 minutes instead. Manny goes everywhere with Mom, so he had never actually been in a men's bathroom before. He was really curious and wanted to check everything out. At one point, I had to stop him from washing his hands in the urinal because I guess he thought it was a sink. I didn't want Manny to have to walk through the shower area and see the things I've seen, so I got a towel in my bag and was going to put it over Manny's eyes when we walked past the shower guys. But in the 2 seconds it took me to get my towel, Manny was gone, and you'll never believe where he went. I knew I had to rescue Manny, so I closed my eyes as tight as I could and went in to save him. I was really nervous about touching one of the shower guys, and for a second there, I thought I did. I had to open my eyes to find Mandy, and then I grabbed him and got out of there as fast as I could. When we got to the other side, Manny seemed fine, but I don't think I'll ever totally recover from that experience. I kind of staggered over to my spot underneath Heather's lifeguard chair. Then I started taking deep breaths to calm myself down. 5 minutes later, some kid who must have eaten too much ice cream threw up behind Heather's chair. Heather looked behind her, and then she looked down like she was waiting for me to do something. I guess the noble thing to do was to clean up the mess for Heather, but this was really beyond the call of duty. Anyway, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, and I've realized that I need to let this summer romance cool off a little. Plus, Heather is going off to college next year, and those long-distance relationships never really seem to work out. August. Tuesday. We ran into the Jeffersons at the supermarket today. Me and Riley haven't spoken to each other in over a month, so it was kind of awkward. Mr. Jefferson said they were buying groceries for the trip to the beach next week. That kind of irritated me because that's where my family was supposed to go this summer. But when Mrs. Jefferson said something that really threw me for a loop, how would Gregory like to join us? Mr. Jefferson didn't look too thrilled with that idea, but before he could speak up, Mom chimed in. Why, Gregory would love to. Something about the whole incident seemed a little fishy to me. I'm kind of wondering if it was a setup with Mom and Mrs. Jefferson conspiring to get me and Riley back together. Believe me, Riley's the last person I want to spend a week with. But then I realized if I went to the beach with the Jeffersons, I'd get to ride the cranium shaker, so maybe my summer won't be such a bust after all. Monday. I knew I made a mistake coming on this beach trip when I saw where we were staying. My family always rents a condo in the high-rises right near the boardwalk, but the place where the Jeffersons are staying is a log cabin about 5 miles from the beach. We went inside the cabin, and there was no TV or computer or anything with a screen on it. I asked what we were supposed to do for entertainment, and Mrs. Jefferson said, "You could read a book." I thought that was a good one, and I was about to tell Riley his mom was pretty funny, but she came back a second later with a bunch of reading material. So that just confirmed Mom was in on this plan from the beginning. All three Jeffersons read their books right up until it was time to eat. Dinner was okay, but dessert was awful. Mrs. Jefferson is one of those moms who sneaks healthy food into your snacks, and her brownies were full of spinach. I don't think it's a good idea to grind up vegetables and put them in kids' desserts, because then they don't know what the real thing is supposed to taste like. The first time Riley had a regular brownie was at my house, and believe me, it wasn't pretty. After dinner, Mrs. Jefferson called us all into the living room to play games. I was hoping we were going to play something normal like cards, but the Jeffersons have their own idea of fun. The Jeffersons played a game called I Love You Because, and when it was my turn, I passed. I love you because you're silly and you make me laugh. Then we played charades, and when it was Riley's turn, he was a dog. Ruff, ruff. A cute, adorable boy, an awesome, friendly kid. At about 9, Mr. Jefferson told us it was time for bed. That's when I found out the sleeping situation at the Jeffersons' cabin was worse than the entertainment situation.